Hello guys, welcome back to another video. Now we are back working on the BMW 760 Ally today. So in the previous video we found out that we had an issue with both, either one or both of the crankcase breather valves. So I actually swapped them out in the previous video to that. I pretty much done an overhaul of the crankcase ventilation system. And the ones that I installed, they were aftermarket ones, but for whatever reason they don't work for this engine. So I've went ahead now and purchased a set of brand new genuine BMW ones, and to be honest they wasn't expensive at all. I think for the two of them it was around £60 or so. So really not too bad in my opinion. So we are going to be swapping them out today. Now I did say I wasn't going to make a whole video, just installing them. I've done it, once or twice before, but I figured I actually have quite a bit left to reinstall back onto the car. And then once we've done all that, I think what I'll do is actually take the car for a good proper test drive. I did take it for a little bit of a test drive, once I'd done all the spark plugs and ignition coils or anything. Initially nothing has came back, no error codes or whatever, but that was pretty much just around my block. So I want to take it for a good proper test drive today, get the engine up to temperature and see if any fault codes return. And the main thing that I'm interested to see is if we get an engine management light, because of course we did the secondary air injection system delete. We removed the entire system. We just taped up the plug and then installed a cap into the engine air filter box. So yeah, we want to know what the situation is with that. If I have an engine management light come up, then of course we need to deal with that before the car's next MOT, which I believe is actually next month. So yeah, we are going to have to look at getting that done sooner rather than later. But yeah, we'll see anyway. We'll head outside, we'll get everything installed back into the car and we'll take it for a test drive. Before we head outside, just quickly, this is what we have left to reinstall onto the car. So new crankcase breather valves, that is in those two boxes here. Also purchased a rubber bush. That is for this bracket here. As you can see, it was a missing one on the back there. That is for this front engine cover here. Now, as you can see, I have two brand new genuine BMW one. Yeah, this wasn't cheap, as you can probably imagine. But this one, although it looks to be in one piece, it is very dirty. It's pretty scratched up, and most important thing, on the back, 3 of the locating tabs are snapped off. There's only one left remaining, so it does tend to rattle around. So yeah, we have a brand new replacement for that, so that should be all good. Of course the other engine covers can go back on as well. Cabin air filter boxes with the ducts, that can all go back on, and yeah, everything else is pretty much relatively straightforward. Okay then, so as you can see, I've already got stuck in and made a start. So what I've done already is installed the 2 brackets, so one on either side. So they are held onto the rocker cover by 2 10mm bolts, and then they're held into the intake plenum itself by 2 T30 bolts. So that is all now back on. This vacuum pipe as well, that has been bolted to it. As you can see, done the exact same on the other side as well. Obviously I've removed the original crankcase breather valves. Now I've just slid the new crankcase breather hoses out, just so I can install the valve directly onto there and slide it into place. Okay, so real quick, just comparing the old crankcase breather valves to the new ones. Of course genuine BMW, but yeah, exactly the same. Only thing I could possibly say is on the BMW badge, that's maybe slightly different. It's maybe an updated version of the BMW badge. These were made in 2002 and these were made in 2021. Well, that one's 21 and this one is 22. So yeah, brand new crankcase breather valves. Let's get them installed onto the intake plenum. Let's slide it onto the hose first. Now I'll also get the 2 nuts for this wiring harness to the intake plenum as well. These are a 6mm Allen nut. With all that now back in place, so it's just copy and paste on the other side, and then we can start wrapping things up. Okay, so exactly the same done on the other side. So new crankcase breather valve in place, everything buttoned down, airbox now back in place, coolant reservoir that's now back in place, and yeah, it's just going to be a case of reinstalling all of the trim pieces. I know you really don't want to see that, so I'm just going to crack on, get it done, then we can take this thing for a test drive. Okay then, so everything is now back in place, nothing's missing, and now for the satisfying part of installing the new engine cover. So these were the tabs that were broken off of the old one. As you can see, look how clean this new one is. Okay, now that oil filler cap, I'm guessing has to go on afterwards. There's 1 tab in, there's 2, there's 3 and 4. Now we'll reinstall the oil cap. Look at that. Now of course the final central engine cover can go back on as well. Perfect. And how good does this engine bay now look? Now don't get me wrong, it definitely needs a clean, it needs a good detail. You know, I haven't cleaned it in a good while, but you wouldn't think this is an engine bay of a near on 20-year-old car. It's covered 150,000 miles, there's 0 leaks, and this engine runs absolutely sweet. Okay, let's go take this thing for a test drive. It's been quite a while actually since I drove this car properly. Like I said, I've already, driven it around the block, but I haven't actually seen what this thing can really do. We do of course have a stone cold engine, so that's the first thing we need to do is get the oil up to temperature. But we're away. No engine management light yet. I don't know whether or not to expect one. I've heard different opinions. Some say that you should expect an engine management light. Some people say you won't even get one, but you'll get hidden fault codes. I'm talking about the secondary air pump delete, by the way. I mean, we must have some sort of error because it's not plugged in anymore, so we don't have any sort of signal going to it. Ah, that's a good point. Let's reset the MPG and see what kind of figures we're having just driving round locally. It's stuck on 7.1 at the moment, which fun story, when I got this car, obviously the iDrive was completely messed up. Later we found out it was actually down to the amp breaking the most network, so I didn't have any function of the iDrive at all. I think in the first couple of videos with this car, people were commenting like, wow, you're only getting 7 mpg, that's crazy. No, the thing was, I actually couldn't reset the mpg, so yeah, that's why I was always displaying 7, because in the beginning I didn't really drive this car. I was literally, you know, getting, you know, it's basically stop start all the time. So yeah, I mean, we're driving up a hill now and no issue, so it's under, you know, a fair amount of load. I'm only doing about 1500 RPM, 50 mile an hour, no issues, which is a good thing. MPG currently around 12. Like I said, we're not up to temp yet. We're only driving locally, so we'll take it for a 15-20 minute drive. Engine should be up to temp by then. I've had the temperature indicator just go off on the dash, and that's only after, what, 5 minutes of driving. Now, I don't really trust that. I mean, that's an indicator sort of to say that, you know, you shouldn't floor it before at least that indicator's off. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, there's a little orange marker line that goes around the where it shows you revs. I can't think of the name. Now, I don't really trust that enough to say, oh, okay, you can floor it right to 7,000 RPM now. I'd still rather wait, you know, a good 15-20 minutes before I do that, because yeah, there's nothing worse than revving out your engine on a cold one. So yeah, we'll just do 15-20 minutes of steady driving, keeping the revs below 2,000-3,000, and then we'll put our foot down, and I'm guessing that's when, if any, we'll notice any issues. Okay, so now I've been driving for at least a good 10 minutes. I'm about to come on to a dual carriageway, so we'll put our foot down slightly and see what happens. We'll just leave it and drive. Effortless power, effortless. I was probably applying, I don't know, 30% throttle there, and we got to 70 in no time at all. People say I should tune this car and try and get even more power out of it, but honestly, it does not need any more power. You'll find yourself at illegal speed very, very quickly if you're not careful. You don't really have, I don't think you really buy a V12 for the top end power anyway. I think most people would buy one because of just how smooth they are and, well, how great they sound as well. But I was also going to say, for the low down torque you generally get. I mean, this car, you can honestly drive it like a diesel. You can just keep the revs nice and low, around 2,000 RPM and you have all the torque in the world, you don't even need to rev this out. And I think it's probably one of the reasons that helps this engine live for a very long time, the fact that it's not constantly being ragged out all the way around to 7,000 RPM on a regular basis. It's only really staying in the lower sort of 2,000 and 3,000 RPM rev range. And yeah, it's one of the things I really do love about this car. It's so smooth and so comfortable. Right, let's put it in sport and let's give it a little squirt. And you can feel yourself being dragged back in your seat as it does climb throughout the revs. Like I said, you can find yourself reaching illegal speeds very quickly. Tell you what though, for the size of this car and the weight of it, I'm guessing it's, well, it's about, I think it's about 2.2 tons, but it stops and it brakes very well. I mean, don't get me wrong, the brakes are huge. I think they're like 360 or 370 mil. It's like 370 on the front or 370 on the rear and 374 on the front, I believe. But yeah, stops very well for what it is. Of course, when you have 440 odd brake horsepower in something that does weigh over 2 tons, you do need the stopping power, don't you, I suppose? It really does go though like something off a shovel. There won't be many regular cars on the road that can get away from this thing. But yeah, I mean, we've been driving for, I don't know, 10-15 miles now and still no warning light, nothing really that indicates that we have any sort of issue or any sort of error. So yeah, I guess we'll just head back and get Ista hooked up and see if we have any new fault codes. Okay then, so back from the test drive, just got Ista loaded up. Let's do a full vehicle test and see how many fault codes we have. So we have a total of 9 fault codes. No red modules though, which of course is a good thing. Let's see what these fault codes are then. Okay, so first one is it's in the DME, secondary air system bank 1, existent, yes. So that was expected. We also have one in DME 2, secondary air system bank 2, yes. And then pretty much all of the rest I'm not concerned about. I know that the climate panel, that needs coding, that is the LCI one, so that wouldn't need to be coded. Also the light module underneath the dash, I'm also going to be swapping that out and that'll need to be coded. So yeah, that's going to pretty much take care of those other faults. But yeah, it looks like we literally just have 2 fault codes. So one for the secondary air system bank 1 and one for the secondary air system bank 2, which was to be expected. But we don't have any lights on the dash. When I say no lights on the dash, I mean once the engine is running. Yes, there's an engine management light on now. There's also the seatbelt light on, there's also the park light, and there's also the parking brake light as well. But when the engine is running, we don't have any lights on the dash. Actually, let's just fire it up. So I know there'll be a few people that don't believe me. As you can see, engine management light has gone off. The rest is just seatbelt light. I can just put my seatbelt on real quick. There we are, seatbelt is on, and then the other is just park, which I'll take the parking brake off, and there we are. So yeah, we are looking pretty good. I guess we just need to get the secondary air system mapped out, so then we won't have these hidden fault codes here. But apart from that, engine runs sweet. We don't have an engine management light, and I can't see it affecting, you know, the car in any way with, you know, us having these codes here. Of course, it's nice to have a code-free car, but until we get it tuned, we're going to have these codes existing. And like I said, the other, I guess, 7 fault codes, they are all down to coding. I need to do a couple of other bits. For those of you who don't know, I've done like a full LCI swap with this car, including the entire iDrive system, climate panel, and a whole bunch of other things as well. So we just need some coding to finish things off, but yeah, we're looking pretty good, to be honest. Okay then guys, so there we go. I guess all of the hard work that we put into the car over the past week or so has paid off. You know, it drives absolutely spot on with regards to the secondary air injection system delete. We don't have any signs that it's been removed. You know, we don't have an engine management light. We only have those 2 hidden fault codes, which you'd only really know about if you was to, you know, do your car, you know, do a scan on your car. It shouldn't really affect the way the car drives or, you know, operates in any way. But with that being said, I will try and get the car tuned. I will try and get those codes mapped out, because I don't like having error codes. I will, like I said, attend to the other ones as well. But we've came a long way. I remember when I first got this car, I'm pretty sure we had close to 40 error codes, and yeah, I've slowly been working my way through them. Like, for example, the error codes that we had originally associated with the dynamic drive, it took me like 2 years to, you know, finally sort that, but we got there in the end. And yeah, I am determined to get this car running, driving and looking perfect. So yeah, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video anyway. A lot of people said it was a mistake doing what I'd done, but I see it as a win. I see it as another thing, you know, another common problem, you know, area on the car removed. I can no longer have issues with the area, you know, with that system, and with it being removed off the car now, I have a lot more space for activities. So yeah, it's definitely a win in my eyes. But like I said, hopefully you all have enjoyed this video. Please give it a like, leave a comment down below, subscribe if you have not already done so, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.